we're back with everyone's favorite monthly video, how much I made in dividends this past month. That's going to be answered here very shortly. Now, if you needed any further proof that dividends are a totally passive way to get income, that you can get paid for doing absolutely nothing. I was actually on vacation for a week last month and I still got money added to my account. I can tell you there is nothing better than being far away from work, being in a completely remote area, being completely not sober, and looking at your phone and seeing that you got paid by companies simply for holding them. Getting these dividend payments this last month didn't require using any PTO. I didn't have to fight with my boss to even get a day off. This is an opportunity that's available to anyone, but only a small select few are smart enough to take full advantage of this opportunity. So be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because I make videos like this all the time and I know you don't want to miss it. Before we get into the dividends though, let's see what companies gave us a pay raise since we last talked. Duke Energy, a wonderful utilities company, has had a recent run up in share price. They gave us a whole 2.1% raise. Now that's not a lot, but remember this is a utility company and utility companies typically already have a really high starting yield. They also have pretty high payout ratios, so their CAGR isn't going to be that great. We also had Shell giving their shareholders a 38% dividend hike, but this does come with a little bit of an asterisk, as Shell did of course slash their dividend last year during C19. That was actually the first time that they've ever lowered their dividend payment since the 1940s. I personally still think that oil will be very relevant in the future, even as we find alternative sources of energy. I also thought this was really neat. I don't personally own this particular stock, but I own it, I guess, in terms of just owning ETFs. The semiconductor company Micron, ticker symbol MU, just reinitiated a dividend of 10 cents a quarter. It's been over 25 years since they last paid a dividend in 1996. And now in 2021, they are reinstating that dividend. So I'm always glad to see companies choose to reward their shareholders if they can afford it. Let's just hope it's not another quarter of a century till the next Micron dividend payment. Also, a shameless plug, if you really like semiconductor stocks, make sure you check out the video that I put out on them just yesterday. This video will include 3 ETFs that have almost 2x the market returns in the past 10 years. When looking at how much I made in options trading this past month, it was a little bit of a letdown. SoFi, which had done really well in the month prior, absolutely tanked this past month, and it did even worse during their latest earnings call when it went down over 10% in one day. And as a result, premiums of this particular stock have dried up. So I really had to rely on ChargePoint for the bulk of my options income. So for this particular month in July, I made $152, down from $337 in June. Though I have to say, if I'm being disappointed with only making $152 in options, I think my life is going pretty great. For the year, I'm getting close to now $2,000 in total options income for the year. That's pretty insane considering I was at $0 at this point last year in options income. A sneak peek, August is already looking really promising, as I already had one trade already be worth close to $150. I might make a video about that real soon, so keep an eye out for it. So even though last month took an L, I'm gonna be bouncing right back in August. Before I showcase all the dividends I got paid, we have one last question from Frank Mularsik, and he asked why I keep mentioning that I make more money going to the bathroom at work and how frequently I use the bathroom at work. That's a really funny question, and the reason why I keep using this metaphor is that when I first started working, I came across this article that said if you spend 10 minutes a day at work 5 days a week in the bathroom, in a whole year you have essentially gotten paid 2 weeks' pay to use the bathroom at work. And that's where that metaphor originates from. I think I'm gonna always be using that, and then I'm always gonna be moving the goalpost till I actually reach fire. Hopefully that inspired you to be a little less productive at work. And in terms of the frequency, I say it all depends on if I ate Chipotle that day. Thanks again for asking those hard-hitting questions, Frank, but let's get into why you actually clicked on this video, and that's to see every dividend I received in the month of July 2021. So starting off here, we have the REIT Medical Properties Trust. They paid me a whole $18.76, and I recently bought even more shares of them, so hopefully next time it reaches that $20 mark. Now MPW, they trade at a 5.56 dividend yield right now, and they have not yet recovered to their pre-C19 prices, so this might be a stock that's still at an attractive bargain. The next company to pay me dividends was Chubb. They paid me a whole $2.40. After Chubb, we have the monthly dividend company in O Realty Income, not Reality, and they paid me a whole $5.03, which then reinvested into buying more of O Realty Income, not Reality. Moving on up here, we have another real estate investment trust, and that is Store. I actually bought more of this particular company on Friday. They paid me $10.44, and about 33 shares of Store now. Moving on, we have a dividend aristocrat in Medtronic. This is a healthcare company. They paid me $5.67. After Medtronic, we have an income ETF in NUSI. I actually just reached 100 shares of NUSI just a few weeks ago, and now they will be paying me close to $16.35 every single month, hopefully for the foreseeable future. After NUSI, we have another income ETF, and that is QYLD. This is the Global X NASDAQ 100 covered calls ETF. They paid me a whole $22.30. After QYLD, we have another ETF. This time, this is a company that actually just buys and holds the NASDAQ, and that is the Triple Qs. This is actually the largest position in my particular portfolio, but since it tracks the NASDAQ, which is mostly technology companies that either don't pay a dividend, or if they do pay a dividend, it's a really small yield. So the dividend yield on this particular ETF is very low, so I own close to now 20 shares of QQQ, but they only paid me $5.56 this time around. So after QQQ, we have another REIT, and that is NRZ, paying me a whole $2.40. This was sort of a meme dividend stock that a lot of YouTube creators owned like 2 years ago. Most of them, basically everybody has basically sold out of this company except for me. Still holding on to them just for fun these days, but still, hey, it's been paying me dividends, so why not just continue to hold it? Then we have the Spider S&P 500 ETF, SPY or SPY. They paid me a whole $4.13. I want to say that there's nothing wrong or nothing to be ashamed about in terms of owning just a passive S&P 500 index fund. It's actually a very smart investment. It's a way to get exposure to the entire market without really doing any work and still getting great returns, and the fees that you pay are so small. These next two companies in AT&T and General Mills are actually part of the August tranche, so I'll cover those in August, but the last dividend payment for the month of July was JP Morgan Chase at $11.70. This is the last time that JP Morgan Chase will pay 90 cents in dividends. Starting next quarter, they're going to be paying $1 in dividends for each share that you own. Altogether, I had 11 companies / ETFs pay me for a grand total of $104.91. Now that is an 82% year-over-year increase from last year when I made just $58, and in July of 2019, I only made $13.17. So really, I am progressing pretty nicely there, but I think that I could always do just a little bit better. And again, what did I have to do to make these increases happen? Absolutely nothing. Other than the upfront research to buy great dividend-paying stocks, I let the hardworking individuals at these companies do the work for me, and they delivered me these dividend paychecks. This really just proves that buying and stashing away stocks for the long term, it really does allow one to collect cash and grow their wealth. Now, this is also the first time that this particular tranche in July, April, and January has actually cracked $100. This is another milestone I'm really happy to reach. In April, I only made $89, so this boost, it was largely driven by NUSI, which I've been buying a lot more shares of. So going forward, this tranche is going to continuously give me over $100 in dividends. So while income ETFs may not always be the most tax efficient way, or they may not even provide the best returns, compounding and cash flow, that's seen right away. I'm still making more money going to the bathroom at work, but I really just hope that this inspires you to continue on your dividend growth journey. I make $100 now every July for the rest of my life, and that's gonna be enough to maybe pay for a utility bill or two, and eventually that's gonna grow into paying for all my living expenses. So if you've enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please touch that like button so people actually see this video, and I'll be interacting with you in the comments below. As always, remember to buy, stash, and collect cash.